Yo, what's good, everybody? It's RK Renegade. Dropping another patch notes video. It is 11/21/2025. And today they are getting into aim assist. So they wrote a little piece here. I read this a little bit earlier, so I will do it again for you guys out of the kindness of my heart. We intentionally took a big swing with our aim assist changes between beta and launch. Now that we've had time to collect data and player feedback, we're making a slight adjustment, as we do with all aspects of gameplay over time, to hit our targets and address the wide range of feedback. Black Ops 7 launched with a new right stick aiming requirement for achieving maximum rotational aim assist strength. When the right stick isn't used or it isn't tracking a target effectively, players now experience a minimum rotational aim assist strength. At launch, the minimum rotational aim assist was a 35% reduction from the beta. Our goal for this new mechanic and our other aim assist range changes is to provide the most competitive experience for all players and inputs. This slightly overshot our balance target, so we're making a small tuning adjustment to the minimum rotational aim assist. Aim assist is one of the most integral components of gameplay feel, so it's crucial for us to settle on tuning that both feels great to play with and hits our balance goals. As always, we'll continue to closely examine game data and player feedback. So minimum rotational aim assist penalty is reduced from 35% to 25%, and this is off of beta. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that change. This is pre-season 1 that they're already addressing some of the major issues that the community has had. They're trying to retain their community that they have currently playing this game, which I think is a smart move. Do some damage control here. So great to see them jumping on this early. Good on you, Treyarch. This is already some great news right off the rip. Diving into some weapons, I'm not going to dive into every single little stat that you're going to see about these guns. I did read this article a little bit earlier, and it is pretty extensive. So I'm just going to kind of do like a quick recap and overview so you guys can kind of base it off of that from there. But I will read you the excerpts they wrote. So this is something that they put. We are pushing an early round of weapon tuning that aims at addressing some of the common pieces of feedback we have seen at launch. The main area of feedback has been SMG balance, particularly in relation to assault rifles. Most of our changes today aim to reduce the versatility of our highest performing ARs and improve the mid-range performance of SMGs. You can find more details below. Aside from the SMGs, we have a handful of other individual weapon and prestige attachment adjustments. In general, we really do like the class variety we have been seeing so far. This is just the beginning for weapon tuning in the opening weeks of Black Ops 7, and we'll be continuing to dial things in across weapons, prestige attachments, and the general attachment portfolio as we roll into our first season. So, pretty cool. They're addressing, again, another big topic. So all of you people that have been having a big issue with this game, just know that Treyarch is actually jumping on things way in advance. So SMGs have been ass at mid-range, just complete dog shit. And as you see, as I scroll down, we're going to be going through some of the guns. They start with ARs. They get into SMGs, and you're going to see some big winners today. So let's get into it. So the M15... it's basically going to take you a couple of extra bullets from mid-range here. They're dropping the damage down from pre-patch at maximum damage range was 22. They're dropping it down to 21. And minimum damage went from 18 to 17. Here's a little snapshot if you want to pause the video. I'll give you a second. Moving on to the AK-27. This one we should dive into just because there's a few good points made by Treyarch here. It says the AK-27 was another AR that was more versatile than we'd like. Our intent for this one is to have a quicker time to kill for the class. But with the trade-off of high horizontal recoil as well as slower handling and mobility for the assault rifle, we're pushing the handling and mobility penalties further and introducing a bit more initial vertical recoil before it clamps, which is a unique characteristic of this weapon that we want to keep. The damage and range adjustments reduce some of the mid-range headshot potential and then introduce additional damage fall off at long range so that the AK-27 is weaker against marksman rifles, LMGs, and snipers at a distance. We all can agree on that right there. This thing is a fucking beamer, dude. You can be across the map, see the glint, and then you could just two-tap a piece of shit sniper across the map. Shouldn't happen. As much as those guys are a pain in the ass with their damn snipers hiding in the fucking depths of hell, this gun should not be beaming them across the map. So another great choice for them. Here's a snapshot of the damage adjustments if you want to take a look. I kind of want to keep this video a little bit short, so go ahead and pause it. The MXR didn't really get too much stats changed. They did slide to fire time and ADS movement speed reduced. There you go. Moving right along to the Maverick. This was another gun that's been pretty damn broken. But the major meat and potatoes of the change that they made here is to basically just keep your shot at the head, neck, and upper torso, and you could still land a one shot. So they're not taking away the one burst potential of this gun. They're just making it a little bit harder. So here's a snapshot of all of that. It drops down from 34 damage to 33 damage at maximum damage range. So again, you're probably going to see some new meta builds coming out. You're going to see some people fine-tuning what they have been running on their guns. So just keep an eye on that and kind of just, plan accordingly as you read this. They're going to be dropping this patch, I would imagine, tonight. So DS-20 Mirage, not much to change on there, just ADS movement speed, tac sprint to fire, and sprint to fire time. Going down to SMGs. So let's see. SMGs are receiving a similar list of buffs across the board. Baseline, they are all receiving an improvement to their final damage range to add a handful of meters to some of their mid-range power. In addition, multiple attachments are receiving substantial improvements to their damage range traits. Our goal here is to help SMGs to contend with ARs more effectively out in the mid-ranges, but also requires some build investment to do so especially well. We want some players to make some choices between creating ultra-fast SMG builds, which everybody does, and those that have higher range capabilities, but gunfighter shouldn't feel like a requirement. That right there, that sentence right there is a big one. That is absolutely how I feel when I run an SMG. I feel like if you don't have gunfighter on that fucking thing, you are done for. You're cooked. You're not going to be winning many fights with a 5-piece or perk greed or any of that shit. So this is a huge one. I hope that's the case. Let's continue on. They say, similarly, the rear grip attachments that improve recoil are seeing a buff. There's a tough handling trade-off when taking recoil in that node, so we felt there was room to push these further. A few of the SMGs are receiving additional baseline improvements to recoil as well. Overall, we think this will give SMGs a more solid footing in Black Ops 7, and we will continue to fine-tune to make sure both SMGs and ARs have a role to play across our map portfolio. It would be nice for you to let us access the map portfolio instead of Black Ops 2 shit, but that's for another day. Weapon class adjustment. They're received flinch reduced from 0.17 to 0.12. We're going on to SMG snapshots here. Feel free to pause. Range for the Raiden 45K, significant jump. Aim down sight speed improved from 210 to 200. Yep. And then we have all these damage increases here. I'm going to put some chapters in this video, so feel free. The Razor 9mm. Dravik 45. Carbon 57. MPC 25. So touching on the topic of SMGs really quick, I am going to point out of all of these weapons, I'm going to have to say that the MPC 25 is probably the biggest winner here. This gun it was so good in a past Call of Duty. And then you come to this one, and this thing does rip at close range, as you can tell by the stats. But this thing's mid-range is so ass. It's crazy, bro. Like, this shit is... Like, look at these stats, dude. Ass. absolute ass. Now, if you look at the attachment adjustments here, they're getting huge buffs. So we're going to see, I guarantee we're going to be seeing some MPC builds coming out. Like, look at the jumps in some of these things. The stability grip going from 5 to 17%, awesome. The magnet grip going from vertical recoil going from 5 to 14%, that's a big jump. First shot recoil improvement increased from 40 to 60. We're going to be seeing damage range improvement increase from 10 to 20% on the Hydra barrel. The Ash barrel is going from 20 to 30%. So, you know, you're going to probably get a couple of trade-offs, but nothing that you can't handle with perks. You can't offload or offset. So I'm definitely excited to see what kind of builds we can make now with the MPC, because this gun, it feels nice and it looks nice, but it just wasn't nice. So now, statistically, they're making it nice. Thank God. That this is a big winner in the SMG class. Something else to note and to point out is going back up to the Dravik 45. They are just completely happy with where they're at. As you could tell, there is no attachment buffs. There is no anything being touched by this except for this one little key piece right here, which is to add minimum damage in medium range. So the Dravik, they're happy with where it's at. That was interesting to see. So some of the people that are complaining, it's one of those guns, I feel like half the community hates it, the other half loves it. So cool to see. SMG's definitely getting a buff. Carbon 57 looks like it's getting similar to the MPC down there, which, thank God, again, medium range for this was ass, obviously all of them. But to see, it's, you know, 15 to 21%. And there was one last attachment I wanted to show you guys. It was actually on the Raiden. Let's see. Well, first off, you got a pretty good jump. We talked about that. And going over to the damage range on the Vienna barrel, 23 to 32%. So that is a big jump. That is probably going to be run on my weapon here. And the vertical recoil improvement from 8 to 13% on the bounty grip, another attachment that's probably going to be pretty damn well, and 11.5% to 19% for damage range improvement in case this doesn't have the trade-offs you're looking for. Greaves is probably a pretty good one too. They also got rid of gun kick deviation, slightly reduced the kick strength and deviation. So this gun is jumping up the ranks in the SMGs here just based off of this one little patch. Let's see how long COD keeps it in place. Moving right on past the SMGs, we're going on to marksman rifles. So there was a pretty big change with the Warden 308. So let's just read their little passage here quick before we dive into that. It says the Warden 308 and the M34 Nova line are both very high-power precision weapons that we see doing very well so far in Black Ops 7. Our sentiment here is the same as the Maverick in that we are excited to have marksman rifles in the mix and want to keep it that way. For now, we want to make sure that there's some counterplay to these weapons and that playing aggressively with them requires attachment investment. Upping the flinch that they receive and hitting the handling and mobility is the approach we're taking for that. So, diving into the Warden 308, the Warden 308 is also losing one-shot potential to the upper arms. We don't want to touch the upper torso one-shot as it is important to this weapon's viability, given how quick it fires, though. We think that it is fair to require good centering. I couldn't agree more. This gun, I have been blasted to shit by this gun online. I don't know about you guys, but why? I think this is a fair patch here, but it is a good change. I mean, a lot of people are switching over to the Warden, people just kind of figuring out about it, and getting one blasts right on you. They could shoot your fingers off and you're fucking dead. So, you know, if you guys need to pause the video to take a look at the adjustments here, go ahead. Feel free to do so. And going on to the M34 Nova line, there was not any statistical changes that changed the damage anyways. Just some additional adjustments like sprint to fire time, tac sprint, all that stuff. Aim down sight time, movement speed. You know, feel free to pause, take a look. Moving right down to LMGs, we got the MK 7.8. Aim down sight time is improved. We are apparently getting an adjustment to the prestige attachment. This must have been one of them. I am not familiar with the LMGs. It's not my type of gameplay. But we saw some frustrations with the overheating on the prestige attachment. We have updated the overheat tuning so that the weapon fires longer before overheating and cools down faster. The penalty is longer if you do overheat, though. So the heat accumulation reduced from increasing bullets to overheat from 43 to 55, and the heat dissipation time improved. Heat falls quicker when not firing. Overheat penalty increased from 1.2 seconds to 1.9 seconds. XM325 gained aim down sight time, so that's pretty good. And, pistols got a pretty good, this one got a pretty good buff, thank God. This pistol is ass. The Jagger 45, we have redesigned the Prestige barrel to have a slower rate of fire, but much higher base damage and range. The new tuning draws inspiration from the Skull Splitter barrel for the 9mm PM in Black Ops 6, which brought unique gameplay to the pistol class that we also want to have available early on in Black Ops 7. So if you want, take a look at how big that damage boost is. Holy shit, thank God for that. The Velix is actually getting a nerf. I mean, people are ripping with this on multiplayer right now, so I don't know if there's anybody out there kind of devastated about this. This is something I'm kind of happy about. This thing's getting a kick in the pants. This is the stats right there. And we're going to address something that I was reading about, another big one, and that is under field upgrades. This is a big topic in the community right now. People fucking hate these drone pods. Dude, I can't stand these things. These things are so irritating. I run cold-blooded like it's going out of style, man. So it increased drone pod charge time from 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes. So you're getting 30 seconds added on to your timer before you're getting that shit again. So you're talking you probably can run this thing maybe one time a match. Reduced drone pod active drone duration from 10 to 8 seconds, thank God. And reduced drone pod damage from 60 to 50. So all three of them does the 150 damage. So if all three hit you, I think you're still screwed. But nonetheless, that's a pretty good one. Most people are running cold-blooded at this point, at least in my lobbies. This is awful. Drone pod should have never been a thought. A lot of people don't like it. Going on to score streaks, they increased the ammo for the hand cannon akimbo overclock from 5 to 7 rounds per gun, reduced hip fire spread by 44%, reduced ammo for the hand cannon extended mag overclock from 12 to 10 rounds. The LDBR increased missile count from 9 to 13 per target, so that's going to be pretty fucking annoying when you're playing hardpoint. Modes adjusted a free-for-all spawn influencer size for all maps to address bad spawn issues. I feel like we could do that for a few modes, but we'll leave it there. Challenges. Change the following camo challenge requirement. Kill enemies affected by your tactical equipment to kill enemies affected by your tactical or non-lethal score streak. Okay, anybody, PSA out there, PSA for any camo grinders. If you are listening to this, and you're reading what I'm reading, and you have seen the Looper bankroll class with the squad link equipment piece, please put that on and run that shit into the ground, because if that's the challenge right there for the camo, all you have to do is put on Scout Pulse, UAV, and Counter UAV, and you're going to be getting them every 2 seconds. So you're talking about getting 20 to 30 kills a match. You're going to be flying through your camo challenge. There you go. Happy to give that one to you. Yeah, take it as you will. They fixed an issue where popcorn medal wasn't being awarded when getting 2 or more kills with the needle drone or Semtex lethal equipment. I don't know. I'm not a medal collector. Wouldn't have even noticed that, but if you are, happy for you. Going on to zombies, I'm going to actually stop it at zombies because I don't want any spoilers for anybody out there. I don't want to be that guy on my channel ruining anything. It's just not who I am. I'm a gamer first before content creator. I'm throwing that out there, just doing some coverage here, so I'm going to skip right by that one. Just quickly going to cover some endgame scenarios here. And we're going to close out. So general endgame is now available for all players who own Call of Duty Black Ops 7, so you don't have to play through that miserable campaign. It's basically their soft way of saying we are sorry for making such a piece of shit campaign. I mean, granted, we did it the hard way over here. We played through. It was a brutal campaign, but you know what? I did have some element of fun playing that campaign. Those boss fights were reminiscent of Destiny 2. It was somewhat fun, but it was a shit campaign. The Michael Rooker fight, that shit was out of control. But but you guys don't have to fucking worry about it. You just have access now to Endgame. So congratulations to you people. You could actually sit out on that, and I think this is them again doing some damage control, in my opinion. And lastly, for Endgame, they addressed an issue where some attachments on weapon builds would not be present after loading into a match, which would have been extremely fucking annoying, considering most people go there to grind out weapons that are PvE players, can't stand PvP, whatever. So happy for everybody that's going to be getting that. All right, guys, that's it for today on the patch notes. Anyways, hope to see you guys next time. Please follow, like, subscribe, and share my videos to whoever might be a COD player. And make sure you hit that bell notification for the next time I drop something. It's going to be a patch note or an update or news, or it might even be gameplay. And make sure you tune into podcast. That is the Drop Shot Pod. Take a look at that on YouTube, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, RKR out. Peace.